What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Trying to play some tournaments today. Looking forward to a big Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the format. Like, one of the things that I actually do quite a lot is I listen to the exact music that we're listening to right now. So I'm kind of pumped for this.
So you play a lot of poker, or I'm not? I'm just not that familiar with you.
You shouldn't be. I don't.
Okay,
I don't
fair.
play a lot. I don't play a lot of poker. New to it, but have been like trying my best to make time for it lately because I've been doing so many of these party poker events.
Where do you? I guess I assume this is public knowledge anyway. So where do you sit as far as world rankings?
World rankings. Geez, I don't even actually know that because let's say I don't.
I wouldn't know that either. I wouldn't know about. For what's worth, I wouldn't know that about myself either. So just.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's often measured a little bit easier within your country first and foremost. So there's like obviously your ranking within your country, and that's kind of where I would be at. So there's like the Olympics for chess, and there's one measurement of like are you on the Olympic team? Like do you play on the Olympic team? Which I have in the past, and then over the last maybe 2 to 3 years, been like way more focused on the stream and the business stuff. So I haven't played as much, but I've always been like just a top 10 Canadian player, and back at more of my peak, I would say maybe like a lot closer to top 5 or maybe as much as top 5, top 4 my peak.
Nice, man. I'm fortunate because poker doesn't tournament poker doesn't have rankings like that. But I would be unranked. I wouldn't be in the. I don't play enough, so.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm kind of like in the my life is structured somewhat like yours is with respect to other.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it. I mean, I don't know the details, but just the way we've been interacting today, I feel like there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, sounds like it. So. This sucks because I pretty much always lose when people do this. He's better King X. I'm like, that's it, but I unblock all the bluffs. His hand doesn't really fold here. I'm just like, the hand doesn't fold here, so I'm just gonna stack off, but he's gonna have ace king or pocket tens or something. Yeah. It's annoying. Yeah. There's not really much to be done about that though. It's like cooler. Okay. So move the right table up. Over here, we're gonna make this kind of like annoying hero call, and that's just because we start with 500,000 chips. So the KO in relation to what he actually has in chips is quite substantial. And so we're gonna try to run him down. Unfortunately, we're pinched. We're hoping to see like an ace queen type of hand, or even like a pocket pair that's different than this one. But that hand's not much fun to be up against in that spot. But again, the KO is just so substantial in relation to his actual chips that we made the call anyway. It's a good flop. Ace king into sevens. Get back in it. Mostly gonna be Europe. That's the runner up. Wow, that's our $1,600 bullet. That's our $1,600 bullet. We had aces up on the flop, and then we raised, and we got called by one pair ace, which improved to a 2-pair ace, and then we obviously the stacks went in, and game over. We put in the very small 4-bet. We're gonna have to call it off against shove. It's a good start. There we go. Oh man, that stinks. We just reached out blind versus blind with pocket fours, and the big blind, the small blind is Simon Madsen with aces. I told you this is the guy that gets the better of me a lot of the time, guys. And he just blind versus blind had the aces, but I had the fours for 20 bigs. Yeah, I think I have to run it. I think if this player called, I could fold because this player's gonna have queens and kings a lot of it. Like,
don't feel pressured because of our jacks bet.
Ace king, let's hold. Come on. That's why I did it. I just come on, one more, baby. Oh, sad face.
Oh my
That's
God.
not the river we needed. That's not the river we needed. Not good for the stream.
Oh my god. That's so
it's hard for you.
unfortunate.
It's hard for you to do worse. That's the upside. The upside is it's hard for you to do worse.
This is true. I'm safe.
Yeah, you chipped up. Yeah, you chipped up. Nice. It's kind of like, oh well. Yeah. It's good flop. Good turn too.
Nice. Did you get another bounty there?
I did get another KO there. Yes. Building.
Yeah, man. All you need is one table. Look at that.
All right, guys, we're gonna take the break, and I think you're
okay. We got
to bounce. So
nice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cheers. All right, guys.
See ya.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. So nice meeting you, man. And I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna bounce. You can if you're gonna hang out, cool. But I think you probably want to go get some food and do the sleep thing.
I'll leave you to it and grab one of those so-called naps that tend to be pretty healthy. So I will leave you to it, man.
Sure,
but best of luck. Bring it home.
Thanks,
bring it home for the team.
Cheers. Thank you, bud.
Cheers.
Have a good one. Bye. How do you make money off the video game anyways? Well, when I was playing the video game, the way to make that much money was you had 7 accounts per computer, you had 5 computers, 35 accounts. In the game, there's like a currency, and you use the characters in the game to kill shit, to gather the currency, so they're basically working for you, gathering currency, and you just have to regulate each one of the accounts to make sure that there's no but you're not doing something that's like inhuman, that doesn't look like what a human would do if it was playing the game. That's the job, is making it look as the least robotic as possible. And then like they get the currency, and then you sell the currency for actually USD. That was the grind at the time, which is a stupid grind. But like I couldn't leave the States. What do you want me to do? Couldn't get it. Like I mean, like I could tell like the alternative was like doing something more criminal, but I didn't want to do that either. So. Like I wasn't doing anything criminal, so the alternative would be doing something criminal. So. Oops. I actually think this is like probably a check on the turn. I kind of hate this. I always do this. Like I always like I have too much blast off in me. Like, there's just too much of this like spew in my bones. I think I hate this turn bet. One of the reasons I don't like this turn bet is because like I think I have to bluff river now. One of the reasons I don't like the turn bet is not because I have to bluff river now, but oh, that's a brutal river, guys. Oh. Like we bluffed because diamonds bricked. I didn't even think about the fact that like, I'm still bluffing with diamonds and spades bricked. So, like he's gonna have like ace, 10 of spades. He might have other suited aces with spades and diamonds. So I'm shipping it for those reasons. But yeah. So I mean, like one of the reasons I don't like bluffing the turn is because that seems like a really low EV play, and I think just like versus check, I just have like a really plus EV bluff on the river. All right, guys, we open up the queen 10. We get flatted twice. We're gonna check here. I think the open was super standard, but you can mix fold. So like, I would mix this to fold. Just on after I lost the pot, I need to get my chips back. Gonna check call and. Not going to be double floating here. There's no draws really. I mean, like you could say 8-9, but it's a small part of my range when I open from this position, and I just think I need to start giving up with some of these sorts of hands here. So this player's range, this is an interesting situation. Like this player's going to have a lot of king 10. I think this is an interesting situation to like check shove. Basically, I think like 7x is a low frequency bet and then call river shove. I also think flushes are low frequency hands for my opponent to show up with. I don't think there's much value in a bet, mostly because I don't think that like 9s or 8s bet that often on the flop. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So yeah, let me just pull this over here. So I'm gonna pull up a replay, try to do some coaching when I play a hand reasonably well. So let's play this one through again. So this player probably didn't overcall jacks at this point, and he's probably not betting 9s and 8s to this sizing choice on the flop. So 9s and 8s are out, and so is jacks. What that means though is that this player's like sets and like good 10x, like king 10 and ace 10. So call. This player folds. Like also bluffs, obviously. Bluffs make sense too. So check on the turn. So this is gonna like back out some kind of like 7x merge, because if this player sized like the way that they did on the flop and had like 7-6 of spades or something, was trying, or like 7-8 of spades, was trying to make some kind of like board coverage 7x bet, which is reasonable at a low frequency on the flop. The time to bet that hand on the turn is now. So when this player checks, that's not the case. Again, we've backed jacks out of the range for the overcalled pre, and ace 10. Ace 10 probably barrels here also. So ace 10 is probably a small part of the range. So we get to the river here, and king 10 is like a pretty large chunk of what this player might show up with here, if this player has a real hand. So king 10 is a good chunk of what this player has. If I bet, this player's definitely going to call with king 10, might fold. Obviously, I chop with jack 10, and this player doesn't have other hands for me to get value from. So again, 9s, jacks, 8s, those hands are, all those types of hands are missing. So we're in this like king 10, jack 10, which I can't get value from, or air world. So betting, I don't think makes like a ton of sense. And we're gonna sweat this out. Hopefully spike an ace or a queen here. Sad face. And okay, so we get to the river, and like, so king 10 is the type of hand where I think my opponent's gonna, if I bet, never fold, and if I shove, maybe call, but if I check, definitely bet, and probably fold if I shove. There's just too many, there are just so many hands that that king 10 loses to. I could have a 7, I could have a boat, I could have a flush. It's very difficult. If you have king 10, and you could have the 10 of hearts, but it would mean overcalling king 10 offsuit. So there's not much like king. There's probably no king 10 with a heart. There's probably none. So you just have like a king 10 no man's land hand that you're just like, well, I blocked both, so I was gonna say screw it and call. Seems unlikely. So I was gonna check shove. The queen of hearts seems relevant. My opponent might have like a hand like ace queen of hearts and decide to bet really big on the flop and just check it out on the turn or something. Maybe queen jack of hearts, maybe king queen offsuit is the hand that like, king queen offsuit hand that bets the flop as a bluff and then checks the turn back. Because it just gives up and then like value bets the river. But then if king queen offsuit value bets the river with the queen of hearts, it's probably gonna call a jam. Because that has kind of attractive blockers around boats and flushes. So I blocked some hero calls. So I probably would have converted this hand to check shove, for better or worse. But my opponent checks back with ace 4 spades, which gave me the option to, the ability to try to get the max. So, I think I correctly read the range. Okay, pretty standard spot to c-bet. I'm gonna go big sometimes here. I don't think we're deep enough to like need to pot it. Still annoying when you get shoved on here, to be honest. Still gonna be like a bit of a math headache. I kind of like having a jack of spades. I like having a king of diamonds and not having a club. I kind of don't like, as far as things I don't like, the fact that my sizing choice on the flop kind of narrows things down on the turn. Makes the range a little bit stronger, makes it a little bit cleaner. But yeah, I'm actually just gonna check still. I feel like it felt like the only flush draws that were like really rational for that timing. So we talked about timing earlier. The only flush draws that felt rational for that timing on the turn against like that particular card were like ace high flush draws, like or like 4 or 5 of spades or something. But even 4 or 5 of spades might check shove or think about check shoving. So it felt like I was up against ace high flush draws and like boats, and I was like, I mean, I should still jam sometimes, but at that point, having the spade sucks. Because ace jack of spades is like a no-brainer check call.
All right, guys, I've got some pretty incredible news. We have brought all one-off videos on BBZPoker.com down to bundle level pricing. That means $10 a video. So the bundles have been so successful that we decided to rationalize the pricing of all of our video content to the same level as the bundles. So all BBZ Poker videos are now $10. You can get Ape Styles for $10. You can get me. You can get Lucky Fish. You can get Yargo. You can get Finton. You can get Spraggy, all for $10. I'll see you on BBZPoker.com.
This is an interesting situation where like 3-bet and then fold saying 4-bet sucks, shove sucks. Call's always like really easy. Probably randomize it a little bit. 3-bet though. Those are gonna call some and raise some. Gonna go with raise. I'm going to check the turn here. So against that high frequency turn check, I don't expect bluff on the river. Those kind of like showdown value. I feel like I'm not gonna get bluffed if I 2-bet either. Just feels like this range is like ace high. Oh, I'm the worst. 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 I mean, for what it's worth, I would have 4x to that. So that's the cat. That's like the one. But that's the reason. Oh, I'm going to show you guys the hand in here in a second. That's the reason why. Like, this is kind of. It's so annoying. So essentially, like one of the things that's supposed to happen is my hand is supposed to have a pathway for shoving. So like when you're evaluating like your line in hindsight, if your line doesn't have a pathway to shove against worse value hands, then your line sucks. So basically, if this player calls that quickly on the river with pocket king. So first of all, let's be betting. So we check here, we check raise. Okay, fine. I can actually have a 4. Like this makes sense with 4x. Like it's very small 2-bet. I'm getting some protection against like queen 10 or 10-9. Unless he wants to call it those hands, which is great because then I'm getting value from my pair of 4s. Get called, snap, check back on the turn. Lots of ace king, lots of ace queen, lots of ace 10 in this range. So I could value bet like 4x like this. I could have a 6, like some 6x bluff. The river to pair. I could have pocket 7s and value bet like this way with pocket 7s, which still loses to pocket king. So let's evaluate that in the context of like my trips combo. So my trips combo needs to try to establish some kind of pathway to getting a stack in the middle. More or less, that's the idea. Like if this hand doesn't have a pathway for getting a stack in the middle, something went wrong. So when I check the turn, we can talk about that, I guess. When I check the turn, the reason I check the turn is because I'm going to be barreling. I'm going to have trips a lot when I check raise the flop. And this variation of trips blocks diamonds, which I'm going to get value from, but also doesn't need protection against diamonds. So this variation of trips I likely to check the turn with. Whereas if I had like queen jack offsuit, I would just barrel it. So yeah, so that was the turn check. And then the river is close between check and try to catch a bet and raise, and then bet, which to a size that represents like the thinner part of my value range, which should catch a raise from like hands like pocket kings. And then when it catches the raise, it gets the jam. And then yeah, or like check ship it or something. And so, you know, like basically what happened there is my opponent like just snapped me off with kings, didn't think about raising. And it's like, well, then he's never going to shove. And if he's never going to shove, I can basically node lock him, you know, which is a tool in deal solver. But what essentially what it means is like if I can lock his strategy to not raising the river thinly for value, you end up in a weird kind of place where you're supposed to just bet thinly for value with like pocket 7s and 6x and like not protect the size. Because if he's not going to raise the river with kings, why would you protect 7s? Like it's not even protect, but like the EV of betting small if my trips combo is just not high enough. And I just need to bet bigger and shovel in more money against either his exact holding or whatever. So I screwed up. Like when he calls that fast, it means I screwed up basically. So anyway, so this hand started off 4 ways. I bet it checks to me. I bet the flop. This player just check call. I think I'm just gonna barrel it off. I'm gonna run into a set sometimes, incidentally, but I just think this is like a pretty, like, I'm not gonna say impossible, but it's really a tempting spot for this player to like check raise with like aces, kings, queens. It's a really tempting spot for this player to check raise a flop with jack 10. So like, I just think that on average, my hand just pulled away a little bit there, and I was gonna just barrel it off. Spot's interesting in this format. I'm actually gonna overcall here, and this is a little bit to do with the fact that this player covers me, and it has a little bit to do with that. Like I think the EV is close between shove and call, so I'm going to be a little bit biased towards call. I don't mind check here. I think that the queen plays the high frequency bet for these two players. Gonna chip it. I cover both. It's conceivable I have a flush draw here. Like there's combo draws: king jack of hearts, king jack of spades, jack 10 of hearts, jack 10 of spades, 5 6 of hearts, 5 6 of spades, 6 7 of hearts, 6 7 of spades. So we're gonna slam it and get called sometimes. Could get both of them, and it's obviously important to try to get the KOs. And we just coolered somebody, which is perfect right before the break. This is still kind of awkward. I mean, like, bet folding is like still kind of gross with the KO, but that is 100% what the plan would have been. Well, I don't think it really matters if I'm suited or not, so I think I have to barrel this hand sometimes and not all the time, and he's got a bunch of flushes, but I don't think that really matters. Yeah, we're gonna barrel it, guys. And gonna be the same thing on the river. Well, it was an unfortunate river in that respect, because my opponent voted up. I mean, imagine if you just like put someone in a room and you said play cards for 10 years and don't do anything else. Think about how useless that human would be. Like, yes, they would be good at poker, but like, think about how useless they would be. That's me. I'm not joking either. Like, for better or worse, this is the human I am. So, all right. So here we can lead. It's not like a pure lead with this hand, so I guess I'll randomize it. That's good enough. That's obviously a very good card for the leading range. It backs out a lot of bluffs in the way that people traditionally lead. Again, like my opponent probably covers flushes. I block the flush. It just makes it like maybe a little bit more difficult to shove, but I think when it comes to betting something like 42,000, that's like kind of the sweet spot of like, you didn't raise the flop, so you probably don't have many overpairs, so you're probably light overpairs. You're probably like got reasonably good coverage of your flushes at this point in the hand, at least like semi-reasonably good coverage of your flushes. There's like a lot of ace high in the range, it's better for you. Like this is probably how I want to bet my 7x block and maybe my straights, and especially from out of position. So yeah, we went with that. Could have gone bigger, but I'm comfortable with how I bet, and I took the pot down. So don't be mean. It's fine. People who are like really, people can coach who can't play. But like if you can't play at a certain point, like I don't want you to coach me either. And like, I don't know if like that's because of the poker like stereotype, if you want to call it that. I don't know, like the standard in poker that like I've kind of been brought up with. So, but I would be like pretty uncomfortable if someone said like, I can't beat 50 now, but like I'm going to teach you how to crush 2-5. I'd be like, really, really. So, you know, to some degree, you have to be able to have like the ideas translate to like win rates. Because I don't think I'm like some execution phenom, and like for me it did in tournaments. Like I have a 4 big blind plus big blind per run, like 4 to 5. And really it's been like 4 to 6. I think it's actually 5.5 right now. But I usually call it like a 4 to 5 big blind 400 win rate in this. This seems like real crap, to be honest. Did this start off 4 ways or 3 ways? I'm asking you guys. I don't really remember. I'm gonna low frequency fold this. I'm gonna mostly play it, but. Like not the easiest spot for this player to be bluffing, right? Like the bluffs have to come from like king 10, queen 10, queen jack, etc. Like there's jack 10 as far as a value hand in this range, king queen is a value hand in this range. I think I'm just gonna stack off here though. I think like once I catch this turn, I think I'm doing like too well. Although this sizing kind of feels like jack 10 to be honest. Yeah, king queen. Yeah, I mean like it's kind of gross. Just punt it. But I have a very, very narrow SPR. I'm going to pull this up. Let me see if I can get this on the other monitor. Yes, 3-player still works. So let's go through this before I bounce. So what happened? So I have 25 bigs. I open ace-5 suited, which seems like, I mean, pretty standard. Even if I narrow my opening range like dramatically, ace-5 suited is going to stay in it. So this is fine. We get 3, we get 4. Okay, 3, good. Okay, so I was actually concerned that it was going to be 4. So that it's better for me to start off now. So 3 players. I wasn't sure if it was 3 or 4. I just knew that I didn't know. So that was one of the inputs, is that I didn't know how many people went to the flop. This player bets. So like it's like what are you bluffing with? I mean, like you can know that you don't have anything to bluff with, and then if you know that, then you start bluffing with like queen 10 and queen jack, and like maybe some king 10 or king jack, and maybe like pocket 6s even, or like pocket 7s. Like I have a KO on my head, so I didn't know if the pocket 6s or pocket 7s would be there. Obviously, like there's hearts, and to a lesser extent spades, like 5-4 of hearts or 5-4 of spades. But it's not like super easy for this player to be bluffing. Most of the hands like filled out on this flop for sure. So I called. The turn picks up like how this player would barrel. This sizing choice is annoying because it feels like a flush draw with a KO on my head would just jam. I kind of thought about that after the fact. If you like, you know, watch back the clip or whatever, if you watch back me talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, this time doesn't really feel like a flush draw. And then but I'd already jammed. So that's a bit of a problem. Like obviously Jack, the other thing too is there's not really much ace-X in this value betting range, which is nice. Like I don't really believe that this player is like thinly value betting me with ace-10. Maybe he is, but I don't think so. So I don't think this player is thinly value betting with like ace-10 or ace-9. So that means that it's like, if he's capable of bluffing with queen 10 or queen jack, or 10-9 suited, or 9-8 suited, like with hearts or spades, then, or like 7-8 suited of hearts or something, then those hands would probably barrel to like this side, like 8-9 of spades would show, or 8-9 of hearts would probably shove, but like queen 10, they'll bet like this. So I think unblocking those is probably good because, in the sense like I don't have a 10. Like I'm not sure if this hand's. I think this hand's better to stack off with an ace 10. This would block jack 10, which seems like a reasonable value bet, but I feel like all the bluffs come from like queen 10, queen 10, queen 10, queen jack, and king 10 maybe, and like 9-10 suited, or like 10-8 suited as far as like predictably. Keep in mind there's a KO on my head, so that weakens this player's pre-flop range a little bit. And then like, well, this is the turn. I feel like a lot of those hands would keep going. Probably. Yeah, the non-spades one would keep going like this, and like I don't know, this felt like it's better to stack off with an ace 10, so I went with it. I have a 1-to-1 SPR. I doubt it's ever like that big of a punt. I did fold this hand 25% on the flop, but I don't think I should be folding it on the turn. And yeah, so we went broke, and like it seems fine-ish. It sucks that 109 players left, and I don't know how many are. 109 players cash, 167 left. So we're getting to the point where like cashing's important, but cashing's important, but it's like I'm short, so this pot's also important. And then, like, as far as there being 3 players in the middle, I don't think that really changes things around too much. I mean, it might strengthen this player's range a bit, though. I mean, it's going to strengthen this player's range. It might strengthen it by a lot. But it doesn't give him more, like, pocket kings, pocket queens, necessarily. Or, like, ace queen or ace king. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm somewhere between absolutely hating this and, like, thinking it's not bad. Which means, like, I don't know. So, all right, guys. Thanks very much. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me and watching me play, and then ultimately punt at the end. It's been real, and wish you all the best. So, cheers, guys. Thanks very much. And actually, you know what? I said a big speech. Let me just make sure that I'm caught up on this chat. Am I going to stream the day 2? I probably would have, but I didn't make day 2, so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, cool. I'm caught up on the chat. So, cheers, guys. Peace. Speak soon. Adios. Bye-bye.